Welcome to Books on Air, the podcast that you really don't want to miss. I'm Suzanne Harris, and today you're going to get a sneak peek behind the scenes at what it's like to be an author. You're going to hear the backstory behind the book, who or what inspires them, maybe even where their ideas come from, and who knows, you might even get an inside scoop on a new project. If you want to know more about them and their work, then we'll tell you where to find them on social media. Joining me today is Cynthia Angelo, and she is here to talk about her wonderful cookbook, Meals with Mish. Cindy, welcome.
Hi, Susan. Thank you. I appreciate this time.
Let's travel back in time, Cindy. I'm curious about how this cookbook really came to be. How, when, and why did you all of a sudden decide to write a cookbook?
Susan, this cookbook is actually a reflection of my life as a single mom with my daughter. I'm a native of Chicago, and I came from a large family. There were 7 of us siblings, and growing up, we had a lot of fun. And my mom would allow us to stir the batter for the cakes and to help her cook. And all along, as we were all fighting over the batter, she would give us little recipes to make on the side and to help mash up the potatoes and things like that. Well, as a single mom, when I had gotten married in 1970, I had my daughter, and my husband and I, after a few years, we decided that, to break up it just happens. We went on a different path. And so I stayed single for 20 years after that, and I never had any more children, Susan, which was unfortunate. But I wanted to do something that I remember growing up to create memories with my daughter. So what I decided to do was always take a recipe and let's make something either for breakfast or lunch or dinner. And then because I did have 6 other siblings, we would invite one of her cousins over. So I would call, whichever cousin it was, if it was, cousin Nicole, or if it was her cousin Gina or Aunt Gina or whoever, and we would make a recipe together. And I would try to create a simple recipe for children growing up. So as this evolved, I had taken all these recipes and decided, since I only had one daughter, I would like to leave something for her as a memory. And then I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I'll do a cookbook. And I'll put all the recipes, and I'll put all of her cousins and aunts and nieces, nephews of mine, whoever helped create these recipes with her, in one cookbook. So that's how it all kind of, resolved. It was all around this recipe and making sure that she had memories with her cousins, and it was kind of a fun thing to do.
I love that.
That's how it evolved.
I love that story, because you did something I think is really, really, really special. Not only have you created recipes that are child-friendly and parent-friendly, but you also created, in my mind, as you were talking about what you did, inviting a cousin over for dinner, for lunch, for whatever, for breakfast, and making the meal special. I just love the idea. Now, the cookbook itself is just terrific. I'm afraid that I'm going to use so many superlatives as we're doing this interview that our listeners are going, okay. It starts with the cover. The cover is adorable. And Mish is short, your nickname for your daughter, who's named Michele, right?
Correct, yes. Yes.
It took me a minute when I first saw the title. I thought, what's a Mish?
I forgot to tell you her name. No, Michele. Yeah.
So where did the cover, how did you decide on that adorable cover?
The The cover, it had to be something unique, and I couldn't pirate anybody else's cover, that's for sure. So I just this took me over a year to find a cover. Someone actually drew this cover, and I bought it from them, and it was just something that I thought was just kind of cool. I really liked the cover, and I toyed with it, and then I decided, I was going to purchase the cover, and that became, the cover, and so I own the copyright to the cover.
That's almost as if you could have drawn it yourself. That's what you would have drawn.
Yes.
I mean, it's just so cute. And throughout the cookbook, I thought this was very interesting. Between recipes, you have caricatures of people. Who are those people?
Those are her cousins and her aunts and uncles, everyone that helped prepare the recipe. So when I associated the recipe with, one of her cousins or one of her aunts. So I had taken a photo. We have photos, family photos of everyone. And originally when I was going to do the cookbook, I had sent the photos into the publisher, and photos got blurry. And when they sent me a prototype, that just didn't work. And so I had to ponder over what I was going to do about that. And then I met a woman by the name of Marlene Goodman, and she's in Wheeling, Illinois, and she does these caricatures. And she does them for famous people, and I met her at one of the, it was an event that she was holding, and I asked her if she would be interested to give me some samples if I gave her a few photos, if she could draw, from the photos, if she can draw these actual characters for me. And she did. And I was like, when you look at the photo of, say, Martina or Frankie or her friend Kelly, it is so true to life. She did such an excellent job. I was so pleased. It's just amazing. I wish I could actually put the photo next to her drawing.
They're so cute. I mean, as I looked through there, I thought, oh, these are just so cute. I've never seen another cookbook that approached it like that. And I think that I really like the cousin idea, and that these are people who were in your life and Mish's life at the time that you were doing these actual recipes. Now, where did these recipes come from? Did you make these up? Were these family recipes? Where did you get them?
A lot of these recipes are very, very old recipes that were made up, or they were family handed down from family, like my grandma, my great-grandma, my mom. You will not find, I would say, these recipes in any other recipe book. They were actually created through the years. There may be recipes that people might be familiar with, but they are all unique recipes.
And the names have just a little twist. They're very clever. Did you come up with the names?
Yeah, I did. I did come up with the names. I tried to put sometimes when children were growing up, they used to, and today I still hear this, if they'll use the name pancakes for pancakes, so they'll be like, Mama, are you going to make pancakes today? So, we have surprise pancakes, And then when my sister, he had created this blueberry recipe from scratch, my daughter used to call it blueberry, and so those are her blueberry muffins, So some of the recipes were actually made, the names were created from her growing up.
Kid Talk. The recipes came from Kid Talk.
Exactly.
I
Kid
love
Talk.
it.
Yeah.
Now, the recipes are not difficult. do you really design these so that the kids could cook with you? I mean, to me, this is a cookbook for kids and even with kids. Am I on the right target with that?
Yeah, honestly, I tried to make the recipe as simple and not as complex so that as a child, you want to steer your child into doing something independent. And I wanted to be sure that it's something that they could do on their own or with a little help from their parent, friend, or friend. So I did very carefully. It took me over a year to go through some of the recipes and to make sure that the directions and the ingredients were actually kept simple so that we could have children do this on their own, maybe with their parents even watching.
Oh, I think that's great. You know, I think especially right now with all of the terrible things that are going on in our world, to me, this would help mitigate some of the awfulness that goes on every day. I mean, there's so much contention around schools and sports, and there's just so much awful stuff going on. Being able to come home to a refuge and pull out a cookbook, this cookbook, and bring your child into the kitchen and you spend quality time with the child, preparing a meal, let the child participate, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whatever it is, and create that positive memory in that child in the midst of all of this turmoil and awfulness. This just, to me, is the perfect time for you to be here talking about this adorable, wonderful cookbook.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Susan, and you are so right about that. It is one of the reasons that I actually tried to rush it out. I wanted, as you know, the pandemic. The height of this cookbook was during the pandemic, and I thought that this would be, my last words. This is something that is a labor of love, and I want to bring back the family value. And as you said, the quality time with your children is an important time. So if we were going to take anything positive out of the pandemic, I would say it brought back the family value. Let's all eat together, let's all cook together, let's all have fun together, and let's just create memories.
Oh, I'm right there in that warm kitchen with you. I couldn't agree more. I think this is terrific. Now, there are 7 different chapters in the cookbook, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but could we kind of talk about one of the favorite recipes in each one of these different chapters? Or
Sure.
one that you
Sure.
think's easy, or one that you particularly like, or one that your daughter particularly liked? What about breakfast?
Okay. For breakfast, French toast was always big. So what I decided to do at that time, and I used to add some orange juice to my French toast. And I was trying to create a healthy type of breakfast, or maybe a healthier lunch. So when we talk about French toast, I added like the usual, your eggs and your milk, and I made sure it was skim milk. But I also added just a 1/4 cup of orange juice and a little dash of cinnamon. So I would beat that together. And I felt it was a little healthier, but it gave it just a little different twist. Where most people were putting vanilla in their French toast, I put orange juice.
I have to tell you that was the recipe that I picked out when I was looking at the index.
Yeah.
That's exactly the recipe. It had my name written all over it. I read that and I thought my mouth started to water immediately.
Yes. And in the recipe, we used Italian bread. I come from a big Italian family, so we had Italian bread all the time. But the Italian bread, French toast, is really, really a little bit more crunchier, and it's just one of our favorites, our family favorites.
And what about orange butter? How did you make orange butter to go with that orange?